This is TWiT.
My dad, who's 85, happy birthday, Dad, he turned 85 on the 30th, is all over. I keep getting email from my dad for this guy, Andrew Yang. Yang is, he says, running for president. He doesn't have a chance in the world, but, you know, Dad liked Bernie Sanders, too. He's the author of a book called The War on Normal People. I think this ties right into what we were talking about, the truth about America's disappearing jobs and why universal basic income is our future. And I'm trying to come up with arguments because I'm going to see Dad in a couple of weeks. Dad, this guy, universal basic income, it's a non-starter. Is this, and by the way, Silicon Valley loves this solution. It lets them off the hook. Sure, we can make robots, we can take all the jobs, because you guys, Yang says, we're going to pay everybody between the ages of 18 and 65 $1,000 a month, $12,000 a year. He also believes in single-payer health care. I don't know how he's going to pay for this. I don't know if he knows how he's going to pay for this. Is this, Ed, is this the solution that we're looking for?
Well, I actually have a local angle that I can bring onto this. You may not know this, but my hometown is Stockton, California.
Ah.
That's where I grew up.
Love
and
Stockton.
The mayor
Fat City.
Stockton, the Fat City. The mayor and ground zero of the housing bubble 10 years ago also. And the mayor of Stockton is a wonderful, very smart man named Michael Tubbs. And Michael Tubbs is, I think he's probably 28 or 29 years old now, and he's the mayor of the city. My father, 40 years ago, was the mayor of Stockton. So there's this big connection here. At any rate, Michael Tubbs is doing a small controlled experiment with universal basic income in Stockton, California. I haven't kept up on it lately, but as of about 6 months ago, that was happening. And there are some experiments going on in this country, and it does seem like a way to eliminate at least part of the basic, the sort of core baseline problem, which is at least give people a chance to get to a subsistence level.
Yeah, nobody argues that it's
being homeless.
It's a living wage. $500 a month is definitely not. Even $1,000 a month not be. But it gets you out of deep poverty. And one thing it means that you probably don't have to live on the street, right,
if something happens to you.
Right. And the one argument against it, which I don't buy, is, oh, people are lazy. They'll say, hey, thank you, and they'll never work again. And nobody's going to do that. And, well, maybe a handful will. Most people, the premise really is, if you have this kind of safety net, then you'll take more chances. You'll work harder. You'll try, you might take a job that would be a little more risky and do better as a result. That's the argument. They were doing it in Ontario. They were doing it in Canada, in Hamilton, Brantford, Brant County, Lindsay, and Thunder Bay. And the new government in Ontario, Rob Ford's brother, just dumped it completely. Just what? That's it. In fact, you say this page was published under a previous government and is now available for archival and research purposes. In other words, it's over. So we don't know what the results are, but I'm noticing a lot of howls of pain from people who said this was a success. This was going to do well. Owen? You got an opinion on UBI? Get the popcorn.
It's not a reliable thing. We have welfare, subsidized housing. People can barely afford to keep themselves afloat on that. And again, I know how statistics work, but in the real world, there's so many people that aren't counted, that aren't working, that are living with family members and struggling with odd-end jobs. So telling me you're going to give somebody $1,000 a month when you don't do anything about inflation. First of all, we don't have any money. You're telling me you don't have Social Security. All these other issues that we got, you're just going to start giving out free money to everybody? No. And of course, San Francisco says they want to do that. At the same time, I really could care less, because we're going to run out of water before robots start taking jobs. Is there going to be
oh, no.
when my pipes break, is there going to be an android that comes in here and fixes my pipes? No, we need plumbers, okay? We need welders. We need people that build things. Like the things when they say, oh, the robots are taking over. You know what it is? It's a little flat Roomba that moves shelves in a warehouse.
It ain't taking over.
It's not taking over. So, I mean, but again, by the time you see the movie.
Yeah, but really, honestly, how long before even those Amazon jobs go away?
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, pay the people now. Raise the wages. Stop doing what Walmart, Amazon does. They're like, look, you can get 29 and a half hours so that you're still not a full-time employee. So you can go get welfare from the government and let the government subsidize your pay so I don't have to.
I think you nailed it.
That job.
That's exactly why Silicon Valley likes UBI. A, it lets them off the hook. We can do whatever we want. B, oh, good. We'll make sure everybody's a contract employee because they're getting the money from the government, and then we don't have to pay benefits. That's brilliant.
And again, we're going to run out of money. I know that this is the world we just print money, but China one day is just going to be like, you know what? Just shut the U.S. down, and they're going to hit the button. Put in code LMNOP, and the show's over. My TV's done. I can't get no cell reception because if you don't think they got a kill switch in everything they ship over on these boats, you're out of your mammy-jammy mind. We owe them so much money already, so I don't know how this is going to work.
All right, your turn, Aunt Pruitt. Have you thought about this at all, UBI?
I'm not well versed in it. Haven't really looked into it, but the first thing to come to my mind was we get this stuff rolling. The prices of just keeping the lights on in the house will eventually start to go up.
Right.
And I'm sure that universal benefit is not going to go up because the price just to keep the lights on in the house is going to go up. Not necessarily saying that everybody can afford air conditioning or things like that, but just the necessities of light and water. All of that's going to rise eventually. It goes up every single year.
There's also the fear that a government that's paying a UBI, universal basic income, would just then cut the rest of the entitlements. UBI, it's estimated would cost between $1.5 and $2 trillion a year. Well, and the entire entitlement budget in the U.S. Is, I think, $1 trillion. So this is a big chunk of change. They're going to have to go somewhere. Yang says, and this scares me too, oh, you can pay it with a value-added tax. Charge tax on a national tax on everything, on production. And that scares me as well. Although we're I think, one of the last developed nations not to have a value-added tax, right?
So here's the thing, though. You can't talk about something like this in isolation. It has to be part of a comprehensive economic plan, a vision for what you want to do with the populace. And, you know, if you look at the developed world right now, you're finding a lot of resistance to anything that smacks of socialism like this. And, you know, so what you wind up with is piecemeal solutions like this. A universal basic income by itself, first of all, it doesn't have to cost $1 trillion. You have phase outs for it, the same way that we have phase outs for all sorts of benefits that are there in the
means
tax
testing,
code.
income testing.
Yeah, or at least once you reach a certain level, then your basic income starts dropping at 50% and per dollar that you earn until it reaches a certain level, so that you don't have people, so that you don't have Rupert Murdoch collecting $1,000 a month in UBI. And so basically what you have is people who are in the you probably have about 50% of the population that is getting some sort of assistance, and that's the same way that the Affordable Care Act works. Right. So or
it used to work. Yeah.
Well, in most respects, it still does, because the law was never repealed, and the courts have upheld most portions of it. But that's a good example of a program that had to be put together, had to be cobbled together in a way with a whole bunch of provisions that didn't make sense. And as a result, you have something that for political reasons doesn't work as well as it should. And I'm afraid that when you start talking about economic programs that benefit the entire populace, and you try to build them one brick at a time, and you argue over each brick, you're going to wind up with something that is not very solid, not very stable, not very sensible. And that's just kind of the way this country works these days.